Good morning, namaskara, everyone. And after Mr. Kitagawa's very good lecture, you got many inputs, and it seems like nothing left for me to provide you in my speech, maybe. But I just would like to begin with my self-introduction. My name is Suzuki. Maybe you will never forget my name. It's a very common name, even in India. I'm a lucky guy. And I'm working in JETRO. JETRO is abbreviation for Japan External Trade Organization. It's a Japanese government organization which is promoting any business between two countries. I mean, Indian business and Japanese business. And we do support those Japanese companies who would like to do business with India or India. We support them. On the other hand, we also support Indian business, Indian company who would like to do business with India or with Japan or in Japan. So we support the mutual exchange of the business between two countries. And I'm here maybe on behalf of this Japanese business community. I'd like to tell you today is that now many Japanese companies are really keen to recruit the talented, the foreign students like you. And I just would like to introduce some figures. Can you imagine how many offices and factories of Japanese companies in India? You have any idea how many? It's almost 5,000. 5,000 offices and Japanese factories are already in India. And it's actually the number 3 countries for Japanese business, which has the many of those locations in foreign countries. I must say the number 1 place is China. Maybe you can imagine. China is our neighboring country, and it's rather easier for us to access. And those are Japanese offices and factories are more than 30,000. And number 2 is United States. We have more than 8,000 Japanese offices and factories in US. And it's followed by India. And this number is very much the fastly increasing. I mean, these are Japanese companies in India is increasing day by day. And this figure is almost doubled in these 5 years. This is the good news. And another thing is that you can imagine Indian companies, they are increasing in Japan. Can you imagine how many Indian companies are in Japan? It's almost 200 Indian companies are already in Japan, and they set up their business and they are launching. They try to explore their business opportunity in Japanese market. And I just would like to inform these figures. Why? Because there are more and more your job opportunity working in Japanese company in India and also in Japan. And this will be a very big chance for you. You may be more interested in working in United States or in the US companies, but we are here to, show off how attractive the working in Japanese companies or working with Japanese companies. But on the other hand, I must tell you a kind of the situation, the behind the story. I told you India is the number 3 company for Japanese business, the number of the location of the business. But when we count the Japanese expat in India, like me, I'm living in Bangalore. Those Japanese people were almost 7,000 Japanese. They are working in India. But comparing with other major countries like China, we have more than 1 lakh Japanese working in China. And yeah, almost the same number working in Thailand, and 54,000 in Indonesia, and Malaysia, Vietnam. These are the major, countries, and the number of the Japanese people working in India is, I have to say, it's too small. And on the other hand, what about the Indian people in Japan? I have the figure. Can you imagine which is the most, the many of those foreigners in Japan? It's the Chinese people. And there are 7 lakh Chinese people working in Japan, followed by the Philippines, 2.6 lakh Philippines working in Japan. And Vietnamese, almost the same, 2.3 lakh of Vietnamese are working in Japan. But what about the Indian people? Only 30,000. And I have to tell you that you can imagine, that I have to say, the small country like Nepal, can you imagine how many Nepalese are working in Japan? It's 70,000. It's almost doubled, more than doubled of Indian people. So I must say that yeah, business is going, expanding, but the people-to-people exchange still have much space to be explored. And that's why I really appreciate this kind of initiatives, the educational exchange and people-to-people, and those are the youngsters like you having interest in Japanese issues. I really appreciate those core players, REVA University and Ohara Gakuen and EduWorks, and of course your talented students. And of course our organization is to support the business between two countries. But we know that such people-to-people exchange will be finally concluded in the recruitment of the talent like you by Japanese companies. Maybe we have to do something more to promote maybe your work with Japanese companies or your work in Japanese companies. And we are here in Bangalore. We have the office next to the Urso Lake, and we are neighbors. And the last but not the least, I'd like to express my commitment to support these initiatives, and we will continue to keep in touch. And this is a really good chance for me to speak in front of you. Thank you very much.